Local Justice, presented by Elrod Law Firm, serving our community since 1980. Here's your host, attorney Ben Leader.
Welcome to Local Justice, where we dive into the people and the issues most impacting justice here locally in York County and beyond. Today, I'm super excited to talk about a very impressive program that's been helping keep the York County community safe for more than 25 years, and that's Crime Stoppers. Since its founding back in 1999, I believe, here in York County, the program has received more than 8,100 tips, leading to more than 1,400 arrests and more than $2.5 million in recovered property and drug assets. Joining me today is Vince Leone. He's the vice chairman of the board of directors of Crime Stoppers. He's a local resident of our community here, and he's here to share with us a little bit about his background and to tell us how the program works and how the community can really get behind and support this program. Vince, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Ben, for having me. Basically, I'll give you a little background on myself.
Yeah.
I actually moved down here 5 years ago from New York. As you can tell, I don't have a Southern accent. I, however, have started saying y'all a few times. Moved down here about 5 years ago to pursue a position in Charlotte. It was during the pandemic, unfortunately. And I moved down here on a Friday, and Friday evening I received an email from the company that I was going to work with in Charlotte saying, well, due to the pandemic, we've closed down the Charlotte office, so now you can work remotely. Well, I had already moved my bags and everything, packed up the house and moved down here. I said, I'm not going to go back to New York. Let me give Rock Hill a try. And here I am 5 years later. I absolutely love this city. I love the people in this city. I love the infrastructure in this city. And I'm just so thrilled to be here today to discuss Crime Stoppers with you. It's a great program that's out there. It really is.
And I love that, you know, you came from New York, didn't plan on ever being in Rock Hill. Here you are, and a few years later, you're invested in the community, you're involved. You know, it says a lot about you and about Rock Hill. I think
Exactly.
that, you know, this has taken off like it has.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It's a very, it gives you the small town feel, which I love about it, but it in fact is a very large city, which was something that I never really thought of. I began, prior to getting involved with Crime Stoppers, I attended the York County Sheriff's Office Citizens Academy, and that's where I got introduced to Crime Stoppers. I attended the Citizens Academy on a friend's recommendation so I could basically find out what was going on around here. I've always been a very avid supporter of local law enforcement, state law enforcement, as well as all first responders, fire department, EMTs, to the point that when I was in New York, I used to bring them food on the weekends and things along those lines, and I still do it down here. But I got involved with the York County Sheriff's Department Citizens Academy. Now, Ben, I will be perfectly honest with you. I went in there with the notion that this was going to be some sort of Andy Griffin, Barney Fife department. Please don't take that offensively, folks, but that's the notion I came in, coming from a big city like New York. And I was absolutely floored and amazed at the technology and the things that go on down here in York County. And the Sheriff's Department, as well as all the local agencies, Rock Hill, TKK, Fort Mill, Catawba, Indian Nation, all those agencies have great technology to prevent crime. They have great technology to investigate crime. And I believe that they're at their top of the ladder when it comes to investigating crimes down here.
I couldn't agree more, and I think that's something that the general public probably doesn't have an appreciation for just because they don't know any different. But our law enforcement agencies, both on the county and the state level and even the city level, they really lead the charge. And you know, the accreditations they have, the people they have, the infrastructure is, you know, very much, we're very blessed here in York County.
Absolutely. And as you know, I mean, we have a very big drug problem, not only in our city, in our county, as well as in the United States, and our law enforcement officials here are on top of that daily to prevent the drugs from coming into our community, which is a great thing. which will now, basically lead me to Crime Stoppers, what Crime Stoppers is all about. So basically, Crime Stoppers is an anonymous tip line. You can phone in the tip to 1-877-409-4321 or download the tip app, which is a P3 app. You can get it on Apple or Google Play Store. As I mentioned, it remains totally anonymous. So once you submit your tip, you will be assigned a number, and that's how you're identified back and forth. If your tip leads to an arrest and a conviction, or actually leads to an arrest of someone, you will be paid for it. There's a scale that we have depending on the nature of the crime, but it ranges anywhere from $50 all the way through $1,000 per tip. And we have paid out numerous $1,000 tips, which are for the, the felonies crimes. That's one way that the community can really get involved. There's that old saying, if you see something, say something. Well, in this case, if you don't want to say something directly, you can do it anonymously, which, again, we've recently had a great tip that led to an arrest on a murder suspect here in our community. And this was an anonymous tip, and the person was paid. And again, everything is done anonymously. I know people sometimes are fearful, so please keep in mind that Crime Stoppers, again, 1-877-409-4321, or download the app P3. You can actually go to our website, crimestoppersofyourcounty.com, and see all the information about what we do, when we were established, the board of directors. I also maintain the webpage, so as the vice chairman, there are numerous responsibilities that I'm expected to do. One other thing is that we rely basically on fundraising and community donations, as well as business donations, and we always wanted to thank our businesses such as Elrod Pope, who's a big supporter of Crime Stoppers. We rely on donations. There's a QR code there that you can scan and donate, and that money is totally used to pay out the tips.
That's fantastic. That's a great overview of the organization and how simple it can be for the community to assist with this. We're going to take a brief break from our sponsors. We'll be right back with Vince Leone here shortly to learn more about Crime Stoppers. Thank y'all for tuning in.
As soon as I contacted Elrod Pope, they handled everything. Without Elrod Pope's help, I'd have been paying hospital bills for years to come. Elrod Pope just took the stress and they put it on their table and took it off mine.
Coming to Elrod Pope, I didn't have to worry about anything. Everything was taken care of. It put me in a real calm state because I had someone on my side. I knew that I was in the right hands. It felt great.
We know the type. You like to start early, finish late, make lemon squares, and make payments to the college fund from anywhere in the house. We know you rely on Comporium for the things you rely on most, like a view of the backyard. That's just a bunny, and hundreds of channels to watch, whenever you want. So you may think of us as just your internet company, but we're more like the I didn't know they could do all that company. Comporium, always ready.
Coke Zero is now Coke Zero Sugar, with great Coke taste. Some people were excited to hear the news, some were skeptical. So we're not gonna have the star of the show you're watching come out and say, "You'll love it." No special jingle written by this week's hottest pop star. No famous internet celebs who happen to be holding the label just so. Okay, maybe just one little pour shot. The only thing that will make you believe Coke Zero Sugar has great Coke taste is trying it yourself. Ice cold Coke Zero Sugar. Try one today.
Being there for someone in their time of need is what Green Funeral Home has done compassionately for 4 generations. It's a privilege we take very seriously.
We believe each life should be honored and remembered by family and friends. Whether you choose traditional burial in our chapel or another venue, or cremation provided by our on-site crematory, we will help guide you through each step to ensure your needs are met.
We are also available to discuss pre-planning. Peace of mind that you have helped your loved one by making those difficult decisions.
When the need arises, our family is here for your family.
At Founders, we know your finances matter. That's why we have loans for any reason.
Can Founders help us with our mortgage?
Of course.
Can Founders get me an
auto loan? Not a problem.
Nice.
Can we do something about this?
Home improvements? Absolutely.
How about just getting ahead?
Pay down some bills? We can do that. When you need a loan, our great low rates give you the opportunity to invest in the most important thing, you. So relax. At Founders, we're with you every step of the way.
Live Strong at the YMCA is a lifesaver for so many people.
I love Live Strong because you meet so many people, you learn how strong you can be physically and mentally.
The camaraderie and the closeness that you feel and come together as a group is just amazing.
We meet them where they are and we work with them to help them get stronger.
At the YMCA of Upper Palmetto, we are proud to offer our community the support of the Live Strong program to all cancer survivors. For more information, visit your local branch.
Welcome back to Local Justice. I'm attorney Ben Leader from Elrod Pope Law Firm, and I'm here with Vince Leone from Crime Stoppers of York County here today. Vince, thanks again for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Love being here.
You mentioned the anonymous piece of it, and I think that's so important for the public to understand. You know, there's a fear of safety that's involved, I think, a lot of times in terms of reporting something. They don't want to be, blamed by the suspect for turning somebody in, but there's also just the fear of inconvenience in today's world. People, have this natural instinct to think if I file this complaint, I may have to go to court, I may have to take off work and go testify, and this eliminates all of that off the table.
That is correct.
And allows them to get the bad guy, so to speak, without inconveniencing, the general public's lives in any way.
Correct. And keep in mind, any tips that are submitted, as you mentioned, are anonymous. It goes to clean up your community. It goes to clean up our community as well as our city and our state, okay? We want to make our neighborhoods as safe as possible, not only for ourselves, for our children, for our grandchildren, future generations. And it all starts with you out there calling in that tip and helping law enforcement. I can't stress enough that we are the eyes and ears a lot of times of our law enforcement. We see things that they sometimes cannot see. So it really, I cannot stress enough to keep your eyes open, keep vigilant, and if you see something, please say something.
And a lot of times, they don't even know where to start, and I think y'all are the missing piece of the puzzle that can sometimes be, this is where you need to be looking.
Exactly.
That's right. And just to give the viewers a sense of the impact, we talked about some of the numbers from a big picture standpoint, but just this year alone, I recently saw that as of September 12th, 2 arrests had already been made, $2,400 worth of rewards had been paid and law enforcement had seized more than $28,000 worth of drugs, as well as $124,000 in cash.
Yep.
That's really impressive.
It really is. It's an impressive stat for this year alone. We're on track to match pretty much what we did last year. Ideally, I would like to see more tips coming in. As we know, Ben, crime is increasing. And the more tips come in, the more times the bad guys know, hey, look, maybe this is not a town that I want to get into. One of the biggest things, and I'm not sure if you had mentioned it, is that since inception, we have seized over $1.7 million in drugs off the street. That's $1.7 million of drugs that was on the streets that was seized by local law enforcement.
Wow. Wow. And just to be clear, Crime Stoppers is not a substitute for 911. You very much still need to contact 911, but it is a complementary piece to the puzzle.
That is correct.
That can serve a different purpose.
Correct. Again, 911, if you see a crime in progress and you're able to, please dial 911. Local law enforcement will be on the scene immediately. But if you know of something that's happening in, let's say, a house in your neighborhood, and you see a lot of strange people going in and out, a lot of cars parked during the night, things along those lines, you can submit a tip. Even if it doesn't pan out, at least law enforcement will investigate it and see if there is something to it. And a lot of times that's what happens. People tend to think, oh, well, somebody else will do it. No, nobody else will do it. You will have to do it. And if we get 2-3 tips based on the same crime and it does pan out, we will naturally pay out all those tips.
And I would encourage everybody watching this show or tuning in to take your phone out, download the P3 app, have it in place to where it makes it as easy and simple as possible for you. If you've ever had the thought of, I wonder if I should report this, that app is exactly what that's for.
That is correct.
And there's a clear track record of success with Crime Stoppers.
Yes.
There's a clear track record of the more complaints y'all receive, the more suspects are ultimately locked up and the more drugs are out of our community. And so,
correct. And not only drugs, weapons, bad people off the streets. And again, Crime Stoppers is a nationwide concept. So each community or each county usually has their own Crime Stoppers. So for example, if you happen to be in Lancaster County and you live in Rock Hill, you notice something, you could still submit the tip to Rock Hill, to our county app, on your county's app, and we will make sure that it gets forwarded to the Lancaster Sheriff's Department or the Lancaster PD to investigate that. So even if you see a crime someplace else, don't just think that somebody else is going to call it in. Or again, like you mentioned, Ben, download the app, submit a quick tip. Again, one of our mottos at Crime Stoppers is crime doesn't pay, but we do.
That's right.
It's a nice little motto they have.
and I love just how collaborative y'all are with all of the different agencies on local level, county level, surrounding areas. Y'all are kind of a bridge to everybody.
To everybody. We have a wonderful relationship with all the local agencies. The York County Sheriff's Department is who actually monitors the tip. So we have a liaison in the York County Sheriff's Department, one of the sergeants who actually monitors the tips, and he's the one who scans through them and basically farms them out to wherever they need to be.
Well, that's great, and we've talked a lot about some of the track record of success, how to report a tip, some of the arrests that have been made, including a murder suspect. And none of this happens without y'all having the resources you need. And we're going to talk in our last segment a little bit more about that. Thank you all for tuning in to Local Justice. We're going to take another brief break from our sponsors, and we'll be back with our final segment with Vince Leone from Crime Stoppers here shortly. We appreciate y'all.
As soon as I contacted Elrod Pope, they handled everything. Without Elrod Pope's help, I'd have been paying hospital bills for years to come. Elrod Pope just took the stress and they put it on their table and took it off mine.
Coming to Elrod Pope, I didn't have to worry about anything. Everything was taken care of. It put me in a real calm state because I had someone on my side. I knew that I was in the right hands. It felt great.
At Palmetto Pride, we know we have a choice. The choice for a cleaner South Carolina. And it's an easy one at that. Don't litter. No grand gestures or heroic efforts here, but the outcome still has monumental impacts. When it comes to our state, every choice counts and every action matters. From the great outdoors to parks next door, from Main Street to your street. All it takes is a little bit of pride to keep South Carolina beautiful.
When a catastrophe hits, it can be a very stressful time for you. When you have trees on your house, when you have trees on your cars, and you don't know what to do, you call us.
We're not a 1-800 number, we're an 803 number. We've been in business for over 60 years because we take care of our clients. That means taking care of them during claim situations.
We're not 9 to 5, we're 24/7. We're gonna be there when you need us most. Gill Insurance, your local auto owner's agent. Understanding business is how we do business.
When it comes to prescription medications and health needs, Rock Hill residents have been turning to Good Pharmacy for over 50 years.
I've been coming to Good Pharmacy since we came to Rock Hill in 1984, and I would not change pharmacists for anything.
With their knowledgeable staff, you can always trust that your prescription will be filled with complete confidence and care for your health. Good Pharmacy, conveniently located at the corner of Ebenezer Road and Camden Avenue.
At Founders, we know your finances matter. That's why we have loans for any reason.
Can Founders help us with our mortgage?
Of course.
Can Founders get me an
auto loan? Not a problem.
Nice.
Can we do something about this?
Home improvements? Absolutely.
How about just getting ahead?
Pay down some bills? We can do that. When you need a loan, our great low rates give you the opportunity to invest in the most important thing, you. So relax. At Founders, we're with you every step of the way.
Hi, I'm John Warden with Champion Services. If you're considering remodeling or making repairs to your home due to storm damage, here's a few things to ponder. A lot of folks have come in town promising a lot of things about we've been here for a long period of time, only to be found faults. Choosing the right contractor is extremely important. Here at Champion Services, our goal is one thing, it's customer satisfaction. And that's just not a sentence, that's a fact. Let me say it's been a joy to serve you for over 30 years. This message is brought to you by Champion Services and CN2.
Welcome back to Local Justice. I'm Ben Leader, and today I'm here with Vince Leone from the Crime Stoppers of York County organization. Vince, thanks again for joining us. Have to give a fun fact shout out to Vince here, because somebody that helped get Vince scheduled had told me Vince was a prior New York police officer, and that's a reputation that I think circulates around the community a lot, but apparently is not accurate. And so I'd love for you to share a little bit about that and where that comes from and the fun fact involved there.
So basically, when I moved down here, since I got so involved with local law enforcement as well as civic community, doing my civic duty, being a member of the committee for the beautification of Rock Hill, the A.W. Heckle committee, people began thinking, well, he seems like he's a cop from New York, a former cop from New York. So I do want to put that to rest. I am not a former police officer from New York. I did do a lot of work with them, with local police departments in New York. Again, as I mentioned earlier, feeding them. I was very actively involved. But I am not a former police officer. And what Ben was alluding to is that while I wasn't a former police officer, I did play one on TV at one point in time. I was in an episode of Law & Order SVU. If you blink, you miss me. I'm in the background, very blurred out. But, I guess I have the persona of being in law enforcement, and I could talk the jargon. So that's what a lot of people down here think. I was in former law enforcement. So I do not want to take accolades for something that I wasn't.
Well, I think a large part of it's just your passion that's palpable, yes. Just from spending some time with you. And so your service is greatly appreciated from their end, I know. And so kind of back to the funding piece of things, yes. I don't think a lot of the public understands that Crime Stoppers is not funded entirely by the government, and don't realize the extent of support that y'all have to rely on the community for, not just in tips, but in funding resources as well. Could you touch on that a little bit?
Absolutely. So we hold fundraisers periodically throughout the year. I will make phone calls and present myself to some businesses, tell them what Crime Stoppers is about, and it's amazing that a lot of folks down here, whether they be businesses or individuals, do not know that we exist. And as you mentioned, Ben, we get very limited funding from the government for this program, so we rely on community support. Once again, there's a QR code on our website, www.crimestoppersofyorkcounty.com. You can scan the QR code. We are a not-for-profit organization, so your donations are tax deductible. We rely on the community to be able to fund this program. We have a great, absolutely fantastic board of directors led by Nancy Foster. She is the chairwoman. I, of course, am the vice chairperson, and we have just wonderful people on the board of directors that really have a passion for this program. We recently had a speaker series on wellness in law enforcement, and this was geared towards law enforcement. Our speaker series annually are geared towards law enforcement. So we had a great speaker series recently, and again, we have to fund those programs. We have to fund the payouts. So once again, we rely on community support as well as local businesses to help support us. And again, a shout out to Elrod Pope, who's one of our biggest supporters, both financially as well as getting our name out there. And we want to thank you very much for that.
Well, thank y'all. There's few organizations that are as easy to feel passionate about as the work y'all do, and just seeing the direct impact of getting fentanyl, thousands and tens of thousands of dollars worth of fentanyl out of the community is well worth every penny. And I would just encourage everybody out there watching it, please support this great organization. Crime is not going anywhere, along with York County's growth, and these are the folks that can help our law enforcement keep us safe. And so please consider, from a business standpoint, from an individual standpoint, help these folks out and help them continue to do the great work they've done for 25 years, for another 25 years.
That is great.
You know, I think another fundraiser that y'all do is the Take a Putt Out on Crime. Is that still a feature in the fall?
That's one thing we haven't done, but we are looking into doing it in the fall.
Okay.
Yes, we
so
absolutely are.
there may be some events, you know, next fall.
Some events coming up. You may see us locally. We set up a tent at a lot of the local events. We were just in York County for their Summerfest. We had a tent set up there. Come by, grab some goodies. We always have some swag there. And just to let you know, sometimes the swag is actually purchased by members of the board, so we don't, you know, basically have to dip into our funds. So it's, like I said, it's a very great organization that I'm very passionate about. Come January, the way our bylaws are written, I step into the chairperson's role for 2 years. So when you become a board member, that's another thing I just wanted to touch on, Ben, is that we're always looking for board members to help support us, to get our names out there. If you look on our website, you can see the days that we have meetings, which is the third Wednesday of every month. Usually it's at District 3, York County Sheriff's Department on Cherry Road. If you're interested, please reach out to us. We would love to have you as a board member. Usually it's a 6-year commitment, but you know, some folks do it a little less. But you know, again, more members, the better it is for us to get our names out there.
That's great. And so whether it's downloading the apps and making anonymous tips, whether it's making phone calls to provide information, making donations from a business or a personal standpoint, or even serving on the board, there's so many different ways that the viewers out here can help support Crime Stoppers and help keep our York County community safe. And Vince, just want to thank you again for joining us today.
Thank
I think
you
you've
so
given
much,
a great
Ben.
overview
I
of
really
the good work y'all
appreciate
do, and couldn't be happier to hear that you'll be leading the charge for the next 2 years. It's great that your path brought you here to York County. We're fortunate to have you a part of this community, and we're so grateful for your sacrifice and volunteer on such an important organization.
Thank you so much. I mean, I feel blessed to be within this community. I feel blessed for my neighbors, and I want to keep the city of Rock Hill going stronger as we move ahead. You know, like you said, we're expanding, we're growing. Not only the city of Rock Hill, but the entire county of York is expanding and growing, and I want to see it safe, that our kids can play in the streets at night, ride their bicycles. Elderly people can go to the stores without worrying about crime. It all starts with community participation. If you see something, say something. If you can send in a tip, please send in a tip. Because again, it's going to make your neighborhood, our community, our city, our county, and our state the greatest in the nation.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you again to Vince for joining us today, and thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Local Justice. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
As soon as I contacted Elrod Pope, they handled everything. Without Elrod Pope's help, I'd have been paying hospital bills for years to come. Elrod Pope just took the stress and they put it on their table and took it off mine.
Coming to Elrod Pope, I didn't have to worry about anything. Everything was taken care of. It put me in a real calm state because I had someone on my side. I knew that I was in the right hands. It felt great.
Kidney disease is becoming more and more prevalent, especially with diabetes and hypertension. My training with kidney disease helps me to talk to patients and guide them through the steps that they can take, the changes that they can make into their lifestyles. And we have a dedicated team of providers, including dietitians and pharmacists that we work with to educate patients towards achieving that.